Well, hi guys, it's hot here. Is it hot where you are? Today is what? June? It's so hot I don't know.
It's the 12th.
12th of June,
12th
right?
of June.
Yeah. And look who's here again. Katie came back.
Hi.
Yeah, it's so hot the air conditioning can't even keep up here in the shop. And so that you could hear us, we turned the fan off. But we're doing a beautiful, beautiful polymer clay, I should say, Katie Oskin of Cater's Acres, Crater and Mommy of Parker. I have my very own Parker now. He's in my place of honor in my home. Anyways, I digress. Katie Oskin of Cater's Acres is going to do a polymer clay pendant for you today, and you're going to love it. So I'm going to sit over there, and I'm going to let her do this because she's the expert. So bye, and here's Katie.
Hi guys, we're going to make mini assemblage polymer rose pendants today. And we have two examples here. This one uses the tea rose and open-sided heart. And this one is a little love pendant. Look. Amore. Aw, isn't that sweet? So we have three parts you can get from Bisou. The Amore is silverware 07973, and the roses are silverware 09111, and the hearts are silverware 03505. So let's get started and make little pendants today. Some of the tools that you might need for this project are a cutter. This is a little flower cutter, but you can also use Kemper cutters in a teardrop shape. Some perfect pearls to add some dimension. My favorite to use is the biscotti, but another good one is cappuccino, and then just the regular pearl. You'll also need a large ball tool. This one is from Polyform. You'll need a knitting needle. Any size or width will do. This is just to kind of help you separate the petals of your rose. You'll need some kind of a tool to add some dimensions to your leaves. This is the Christy Friesen tool, but you can use anything that you have. You will also need a needle tool and a blade. Now for today's project, I've gone ahead and made a blend for what we're going to do today. Now the idea behind this project is that when you make your assemblage, you'll have some polymer, let's call it fabric, that you're going to make. You'll have some leaves, and I've already made this leaf cane, but I have several tutorials of leaf canes available on the website, so you can make your own. So you'll need a leaf cane, and then you'll need some kind of a blend if you want for your rose, okay? So I'm going to show you how to assemble this and put all of this together today. So the first thing that you are going to need to do is to take, if you have a blend, and if you're going to use a flower cutter like this or a Kemper cutter, you're going to need to decide what in your color range you want your rose petals to be. So when you do this, the easiest way to do this is to set your cutter down and look down from the top into the cutter, and that will show you what your blend's going to look like on the inside. So just kind of move it around until it's to a place where you like the color palette, okay? And all of these are rolled in the pasta machine on the second thinnest setting. So just cut out your little piece here. Okay, now this is only going to give us 6 petals, okay? Depending on the size of your rose, you may need more petals than that. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut a second one now because we'll probably need more. Now if you're using a flower cutter like this, then what you'll need to do is to cut the flower apart. And you'll need to take each round and make it its own little teardrop like shape. So just use your blade and cut it apart. You heard Brenda and I talking about today how hot it is here. It's like 90 degrees here, or almost 90, which for us at this time of year is pretty darn hot. So, and humid, and very, very humid. So this clay is exceptionally soft. So I know we're going to have a lot of errors and a lot of mistakes, but some of the tricks that you can use to keep your clay from being too soft, and I do this a lot in my studio, if I know I'm going to have a big project that I'm working on, I take all my clay the day before and I set it in the fridge. That'll keep it cool so that it doesn't get so mushy that you can't work with it. These roses do have like a sculpting component to them, so they are going to smash pretty easily. So if it's hot where you are, this is a great winter project, but it can be done in the summer. So we'll see how smushy these get today. Okay, so once you have all your little petals ready, you're ready for the next part, and that's to make the center of the rose. And all that is just a turned piece of clay. So what we're going to do is come back to our blend, and I'm just going to cut a strip right off the end, okay? It's so hot here, the clay won't even cut. It just wants to pull itself right apart. Okay, so cut a strip of clay, and then you only need, for the roses to fit inside, inside these flowers, you really only need about 1/2 of an inch. So decide what you want your center to look like. I want my center to be more on the yellow side. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this little piece, I'm going to lay it in my hand. And then I'm going to take this nice giant ball tool. And this is one of my favorite techniques. You've seen me do this a lot here on Bisu's channel. And I'm just going to take that ball tool and I'm going to roll it. See, the clay is so hot, it's not even, won't even stick in my hand. Look at that. Okay, let's try this again. I roll it right in the palm of my hand because it gives a texture and picks up the actual imprint of my hand, which for roses is a great thing because if you look at a rose, the petals have some natural variation on them. Once you have this edge all thinned out, just keep taking your ball tool and rolling it down over the edge. The idea is that you want to make one edge, not both, just one, really, really thin, okay? Then you're going to take that piece of clay using your fingers and you're going to roll it. Begin by pushing down the end and rolling it in on itself. Now because you did this in your hand, what you're going to get is a nice variated roll. Okay, now I'm going to cut off this tail because I really don't need it. Now once you have this center, you're going to say, well, that's great, that doesn't look very realistic. Yeah, you're right, it doesn't. This is when you get to play. Take that knitting needle and pull down your edges. All the way around. Pull them toward the outside. Okay. Now it's starting to look a little better. And if you look at that now, it looks completely different than the little roll that we had started. So we're going to set that aside very carefully without smushing it on this almost 90-degree day. Right, Brenda? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right, so then we're going to take our flower, or our little petal that we cut. And if you want to look at your petals, if you want them to go in a certain order, you'll need to pay attention to that order. I don't really care what order it is because since it's from a Skinner blend, it's going to look pretty no matter what order it's in. But I'm going to take my ball tool again with this little teardrop on my hand and I'm going to pull outward. And you've seen me do this here for other things too. Just going to push and pull outward. It's going to change the shape, but what you're really doing is making that edge really, really fine. Just work on it a little bit and it's going to stick to your hand. Then pull it up from the bottom. Don't touch the top. I don't know if you can see that or not, Javi. You see the texture from my hand? Can you see that? That's what's going to give you the texture for your petal. Now while it's on your finger, pick up the little round that you just had and where the last round ended, place that little leaf. Try your best not to touch the top of that petal and pull it around, okay? You can take your ball tool and kind of push it back, okay? And then give it a little squeeze at the bottom. You're going to have a lot of extra at the bottom and that's okay. Set that back down. We're going to do the whole thing over again. We're going to continue to do that over and over and over again. Remember that when you work with polymer, if the edges appear thin, even if the rest of the piece isn't, it will give the illusion of being thin. Okay, put it on your finger. Now this time you're gonna want to go to the opposite side of the petal that you just put on. Okay, so I'm gonna kind of wrap it around and then again, fold it down, okay? And we're gonna work on it again at the end so that it looks a little more seamless. So don't worry too much right now about how it looks. We'll get there. Keep taking your petals. This is the most tedious process of this whole thing, is just making all these little tiny petals and making them look at least semi-realistic. Now your third petal, you're going to want to put right next to the last one you put on, but around the first, okay? So it's going to look like this. And see, by using that Skinner blend, what I meant when I said it's not going to matter what petal you use in what order, this rose is going to look like it all belongs together because it came from the same Skinner blend. Even that yellow, it matches. That's the nice part about a Skinner blend, is that you can almost have a seamless piece very, very easy. Okay, once again, just take and work your little petal. Whoops. Now you're going to want to go on the opposite side from the petal you just placed. So take your petal, put it on, wrap it around the other two. See, already it's starting to look like a rose. Now again, we're going to kind of shape these after all the petals are on. You're just going to continue to do this over and over, petal after petal. I know it's hard for you to tell on camera, but I'm really pushing hard to make sure that not only this petal gets pretty thin, but that it really picks up the texture of my hand, because I think that the petals look so much more realistic when you do it that way. Okay, continue putting your petals on. This one has a little bit of a dark edge. That's all right, because look, if we fold that down, it's gone. Yay. Okay. If your weather is really, really hot like it is here, the other thing you can do is once you get your basic rose made, you can go pop it in the fridge for 5 minutes or so, then take it out and then try to shape your petals. It'll just kind of help the petals not to stick to each other as you shape it. We don't have that kind of time for our live action video, but that is an option for you. Again, put the petal around. Okay, now, when you make these roses, you can make them as big or as small as you want, but keep in mind that whatever rose you make is going to go in the center of this. So, you know, kind of visualize what you want it to look like in the end. So I'm going to add just, I think, 2 more petals, and I think we'll be good. And just kind of press it into your hand. And it's okay if it gets wonky shaped, like this one doesn't even look like a petal shape anymore. That's okay, because roses aren't perfect, and neither are their petals if you really look at them. So we're going to take and put this little guy, sit right here. Just kind of manipulate it with your fingers wherever you want it to go. Then I think we'll put a petal right down here next time. Okay, so we're going to do the whole thing one more time. Whoo, is this soft clay? Woo! I just smushed my own petal. Okay, we'll try to use it anyway. Okay, now once your rose is all together, you're going to take it from the bottom and give it a little spin. Okay, this is where, because it's so hot, all my petals are going to start sticking together. Just spin it between your fingers. What that's going to do is it's going to create a nice pointed base. Now in order to put it in here, you're going to have to cut that off, okay? But before you do, I want you to take a minute, especially if it's hot where you are, pull these petals down and separate them a little bit. So I'm using my knitting needle because it doesn't leave any lines behind, but it'll help to separate my flowers. I'm going to pull that back toward the center. Okay. Now, what I like to do in these bases, polymer will not stick to metal. Okay, so you have to help it to stick to metal. My preferred choice is Bacon Bond to adhere polymer to metal permanently, but you can also use TLS. TLS is just translucent liquid Sculpey. It's just a tiny bit more runny, so you have to bake your project the same day you make it. If you're a batch person like I am and make something and might not cook it until you have a full batch ready, then this probably isn't your best bet. You want to go with something thicker like Bacon Bond. But if you're going to bake it right away, you just take a little bit of the liquid clay and we're going to put it right down here in the bottom of this flower. Just squeeze it right on in there, okay? Once it's in there, take your finger and kind of push it around onto the metal, okay? It's going to bake up kind of clear, and because your rose is going to be in the center, you'll never know that that's there, okay? Now take your leaf cane and cut a section off. I like to put a leaf underneath my rose, so cut a piece of your leaf cane. Again, I'm going to kind of flatten it with my fingers. And then I'm going to use this tool and I'm going to add some dimension by just giving little indents between the veins. This is a real simple trick that you can do to just add a little oomph to your leaf canes. I'm going to gently pull it and elongate it, give it a little bend. And I'm going to take that little guy and I'm going to set him right down into the liquid Sculpey and onto the rose. Okay, now, then I'm going to take this little guy and I'm kind of going to bend him around, okay? Because I'm going to put the rose in there. If I don't bend that leaf, it's going to come up and flatten my rose. So at least before you put your rose in, bend that down. If you don't like it afterward, you can always push it back up, okay? And take your rose, hold it in your finger. Don't do this on the table or you're going to flatten all that hard work that you just did on your petals. You're going to cut the base of your flower off. Just use your blade and cut straight through, okay? Now your rose has a flat bottom. You're going to take it and you're going to plop it just like that. Sound effects help, just so you know. You're going to plop it right down into the center of that rose. Now you're going to take this knitting needle and you're going to very gently push it down through the center. It's going to help to secure that rose down into the liquid clay. Now this isn't going to go anywhere now. That leaf just adds a little bit of green without being too overly obnoxious. You can put more leaves around it if you want to, okay? All right, so now we have choices for our base, and Brenda has a lot of things on her site that you can use to make a base. But when I made this one, I wanted the look of like fabric, and if you can see, this actually bends. See that? It's thin enough, this is Primo clay, but it's thin enough and strong enough that it will kind of bend, so it kind of gives that illusion of fabric. And the same thing with this one. I've kind of made faux fabric here to give the illusion of movement and depth with the clay. So these are just, you know, two examples. Now maybe for this one, you know, you guys are the artists, but if you're going to put that rose on top of there, maybe you don't want to cover up this filigree, okay? Now, you can always bake this as it is and then use your E6000 and put this on here, or you could add polymer underneath the tea rose, and that's what we're going to do. So we're going to take some leaf canes and we're going to cut them. I'm going to cut a few off here. Let's do 3. I like to work in odd numbers, especially when we're talking about nature, because nature likes odd numbers too. Okay, so just take your tool and indent your leaf again, right along your vein lines. Give it a little bit of a stretch, grab it at the tip, give it a little stretch, maybe a little spin. It's going to elongate it, make it a little bigger. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of TLS, I'm going to put it right down here near the base. And let's see, wherever else I want my leaves to be. So let's put them right here, and let's put it up here, okay? And take that leaf, and we're gonna put it down on that TLS. Now I'm pushing pretty hard, but I'm not distorting the entire shape, okay? Do the same thing 2 more times. Now if you want your leaves to be more hidden under the rose, then they would need to go more toward the center of the pendant, but if not, then you can just do it the way I'm doing it. Okay, again, push down. You can use your leaf canes without putting little indents in them. It doesn't really matter. I just think the indents give a nice little bit of added oomph, if you will. Okay, and then put that down there. Okay, now, before we can put this flower on here, we need something else for it to stick to. So let's make some fabric. Here's how I make fabric. There are lots of ways you can make fabric. You can use something patterned, or you can use just plain clay. So we're going to take this red clay. Let's get these out of here. All right. I'm going to take this red clay. And the way that I like to do it, especially for this, because you're just giving the illusion of fabric, you don't want this to be bulky under here, or your rose is going to wobble and it's not going to sit flat. So what I like to do is I like to cut triangles of clay. Okay, so we'll cut a little bit of a wonky triangle. You'll see the shape here. Something like that, okay? It depends on how long you want yours to be. We're going to make this one kind of long. In fact, let's not. Let's make it short. Hey, how about that? It's a really hot day. The clay's just going to go all wonky anyway. All right, now what you're going to do, using your fingers, you're going to kind of fold the clay in on itself. And I only fold at one end, okay? I'm just kind of doing an accordion here with my fingers. And what that's doing is, see, it's creating natural ups and downs in the clay. Then I'm going to take it, I'm going to just put it down here. I'm going to see about where it's going to lay, and we're going to redo those folds once we get this on here. So it's going about to here, so we'll put some TLS here. And let's kind of spread that around here with our finger. Okay, so we're going to take this, we're going to put it down here and give it a push. Okay, all right. Now we're going to take the clay and we're going to kind of manipulate it now to look like fabric. If your fingers are too big, or if you don't have good control with them, you can use a tool, like a knitting needle like this, or a variety of other tools that you might have in your studio, okay? All right, so let's do that one more time. Take another sort of triangle shape here. I'm going to do it again. Okay, so you only need to fold, remember, one end. You do not need to fold both, because the second one you want to be more open, okay? So we're going to kind of accordion fold it here in on itself, just back and forth, and kind of let the clay do its own thing. It will tell you what it wants to do. Okay, and let's put this one down here on this side, okay? All right. Now again, once you have it down, remember, polymer will stick to polymer. So the reason that I didn't put TLS down before was because this red piece is lying not only on this red, but also on this leaf cane. So it doesn't need TLS. If you're concerned that it won't stick, go ahead, add TLS. It's not going to hurt anything. We're Bacon Bond. I'm going to take this, go ahead and kind of manipulate it to get it to look like what I want. Now comes the fun part. Now we're going to put this little guy on. How are we going to put him on here? Like this, kind of play with it, see how you want it to look, see what direction you want your rose and your leaf to go before you press it down. Because once you press it down into the clay, the fabric will take its shape with the rose where you had it, okay? So let's see. Let's do it this way. Okay. Once you decide the way you want it, you're going to take that piece. You're going to add a little bit of TLS, okay? Because remember, I'm adding it right to the clay here. And the reason why is because this metal on the back, hope my rose doesn't fall out, will not stick to the clay. So it's going to need help, okay? So I'm going to take this guy, I'm going to put it back down, and I'm going to give it a good hard push without touching my rose that I just did. Okay. Now, if it messed up your fabric or got rid of your wrinkles or whatever you want to call it, just kind of push them back. Remember that this clay is going to be, this is all Primo clay. I guess I should have said that from the beginning. Primo clay is very, very versatile. And you can kind of bunch it. Do whatever you want. This is, you know, faux fabric, so have fun with it.
I just have to say something.
Yeah.
Go Primo.
Yeah. Love Primo clay.
Love Primo.
I do. Okay, so there we go. So there's a mini assemblage. So there's a couple different ideas for you. You can make one with lots of leaves like this one and some fabric. You can make one more like this one with a whole bunch of smaller fabrics all bunched. And this I did the exact same thing. I just used rounded pieces instead of square pieces. So you can do a lot of different things depending on what look you're going for. Now here's my favorite thing to do at the very, very end, okay? If you have a tiny small brush, this will work great. If not, use your finger. Take your lid, not the jar, the lid to your mica powder, put your finger in, kind of dab it around, get a good amount of mica powder on your finger. And then take it and gently touch the tops of your petals. And what that's going to do is just add a tiny bit of luster without being overly mica powdered, because with mica powder it's easy to go too far.
What kind of mica powder are you using?
This is Perfect Pearls.
Oh, Perfect Pearls.
Yeah, in biscotti.
Okay.
I love the biscotti because it's like a cream color.
You know what, I'll have to get that because I don't think we carry that one.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's got kind of, if you can see it, it's got like a yellow undertone, but it's beautiful. Now my biggest tip for mica is use the lighting in the room and see where the lighting already hits the clay, especially if you're going to add details to the fabric. So wherever the light already hits the clay, you can add a little bit of mica because that's where the natural highlight would be. If there's not a reflection from the lights in your room, don't add the mica. And it'll look great every single time. Okay, so there you go. There's your projects. I hope you guys enjoy and have fun.
Yay!